So we are Team 2. My name is Cynthia, and we are part of the Community Development class for Team 30 this semester. So we did our project on Schob Nature Preserve just as everybody else. We're all going to kind of introduce ourselves really quick and say what we did. So I'm Cynthia, I'm the team leader, and I kind of helped with everything facilitating, and then we went and took a lot of pictures at the park just to kind of have our own.
I'm Hannah, and I did the environmental section.
I'm Olivia Alvarado. I work organizational and cultural development.
My name is Ethan Oliphant. I'm the deputy team leader.
My name is Jose Andres Munoz. I worked on film and on the sensory aspect of the park.
I'm Dakota Fernandez. I did some background info on the economics part, and then the main part was doing the film.
My name is Christian Fauché. I did the sensory.
My name is Shino. I did the sensory.
My name is Justin McBride, and I did the economics section.
My name is Paige Beadle, and I did the environmental.
My name is Colton, and I did the social cultural part of it.
Alright, so we're going to go over the agenda real quick before we get started. First of all, we're going to do an introduction about Schob Nature Preserve. Then we're going to show you the video that we made, and then we're going to proceed into our Quadruple Net Value Analysis, all the subcategories. Everybody's going to talk about their parts. Then we're going to go on to our recommendations, and then we're going to focus on in question and answer session. So for our introduction, we wanted to let you guys know where the park is. It's located in College Station, Texas at 906 Ashburn Avenue. The park was donated by David E. Schob in 2009 after he passed away. The project was completed in 2012. There is a residence on the property that is used for those that have disability from the armed services. They're allowed to stay there if they get selected. And then the park portion of the property was placed under the joint jurisdiction of Texas A&M Urban Planning and Landscape Architecture Department, along with Recreation, Parks, and Tourism.
So a little introduction to the video that I'm going to make real quick is this first part is going to be about a bunch of activities and the great parts about this aspect and how it brings good things to the neighborhood and the surrounding areas. But, however,
yeah, the second part I also want to focus on kind of the aspects that it was lacking in, kind of the negative sides to the park that could be improved to kind of make it into the preserve that Dr. Shaw probably intended.
My name's Golden again, and I did part of the social and cultural metrics of the site. So in regards to safety and security, there's no security staff on site right now. The crime reduction does not exist with exception to the adjacent neighborhoods, and then also in regards to amenities that surround the site. On the top map right here, there are 2 local parks that are a 10-minute walk, and then also a commercial development to the northwest of the site that's a 10-minute walk as well. Down here, this kind of profiles where the existing lighting is on the site. There's only this one strip right here at the bottom, which is where the entrance is, where there is pedestrian lighting there. So, next. So this is the public access and connectivity analysis. Anyone can visit the park. It's open to the public. There's no public transit that actually goes straight to the site. Truck connections do not exist outside of what is actually in the park itself. There's no bike lanes or like bike racks or anything like that on the sites. And the landscaping and lighting do not cover the entirety of the site. So educationally, the park is owned, as everyone knows, by the Landscape Architecture and Urban Planning Department, as well as other various departments on campus. There are educational programs that do occur on the site, but that information is not known. And also there are multiple small exhibits profiling just kind of the historical area, historically what the area looked like the Blackland Prairie up here. And then also educationally, there was an opening ceremony that occurred in 2014 where the City Council came and introduced the site. Health-wise, the existing trail network is right here. It's less than a mile in length. Approximately 80,000 square feet is dedicated to public parks, which can be utilized for exercise. There's no designated area for dogs, and then also 140 new trees have been planted around the site. And this right here is kind of the forested area that was preserved. And then this is the public visitation and involvement. These 2 highlighted areas are the pergolas that are roughly 1,800 square feet in area. There's no known programmed events that are on the site itself, aside from the opening ceremony that occurred in 2014. And then there's no known estimated annual visitation on the site.
For residential proximity, there's 190 residential units within a 5-minute walk, which is about a quarter of a mile. And there is 520 residential units within a 10-minute walk, which is about half a mile. This park also provides residential improvement to their quality of life by giving them a trail network as well as giving them a space to be in nature. There's no public art in the park. The beauty does come from the nature, and so this is a plaque that shows the importance of what plants are there and how that provides beauty in nature. For pedestrian comfort, there's trees, trails, outdoor seating. There's no bike parking, and there's only lighting in the entrance, as Colton showed. Also, it is ADA compliant. There is a ramp to the entrance, and it is paved path. The other means of transportation to get there is the AGGIE bus stop about 1.15 miles away, and there's also an elementary school bus stop on Ashburn Avenue about 0.1 miles away.
So I'm Justin McBride, and I do the economic criteria and metrics. So the property values. So taxable value of the properties before were around $3,019 and $350, and afterwards they were around 295 developments. So that's according to the Brazos Valley CAD. And essentially it's gone down a little bit, but that's just probably because some of the properties in the area have been vacated, and as well as some new condominiums have been coming in as well as apartments. And then the adjacents, they've risen as well substantially, which is a pretty good sign for how that impacted the area. And then the taxable value of the property within a 5-minute walk after development stages was around $2,433 according to Zillow. So the revenues of the park, there weren't any since it's a public park. The occupancy rates have not been affected. It's extremely negligible if there is any effect, as far as the surrounding homes and everything. And then sales and rents of adjacent properties are not available before and after development. I'd imagine they probably continuously go up. And you have to understand where the site is. It's in College Station, Texas, which has been continuously going up as far as in taxable value and revenues for properties because of Texas A&M being one of the largest universities in the United States, as well as just general, development. But yeah, and as well as that. So.
The design value and the computational is the fee and planning are conceptual design were free of charge done by the Macro, and fees for design of the project were free of charge by students of the Texas A&M University and School of Architecture. And the economic impact using the multiplier for planning and design impact are not available right now currently. And the and that is the number of jobs created during the construction were 0 because it was created by the students, and all the design were by students from Texas A&M University. And total construction value was free of charge because it was created by students, and economic impact using the multiplier for construction impact was free of charge. And the
I can tell. The operations and management value. So essentially, we looked through whether or not it was a value, like they were spending money on the park, and it doesn't appear that way. They just need to have some sort of maintenance workers come out there. Whenever we went out there, it wasn't really being maintained all that well. I imagine it's probably maintained once a month. They just run a lawnmower over it. So that's pretty negligible as far as jobs go. But it's probably done by either workers for the, like maintenance workers for Texas A&M. So yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so the real estate transactions investment adjacent to the project. There's a number of annual real estate transactions within a 5-minute walk before and after the project was approximately 4 to 5. This is according to Zillow. And the investment by adjacent properties to enhance their image and property values is not available.
Okay, so for environmental criteria and metrics, about 90% of the site is dedicated to green space, and the other 10% is dedicated to permeable trails and seating areas. Various plant species can be found at the site. Some of those plant species are going to be redbuds, live oak, swing elm, mulberry, Yukon holly, coral cherry, and Bermuda grass. Due to the green space covering a vast amount of space, there is not a heat island effect. The air quality of the site is considered to be good. In addition, because the site established plants with low maintenance, the plants are low in water usage.
So yeah, kind of like Hannah said in the previous slide, it doesn't have any LEED certifications, nor does it have a Sustainable Site Initiative certification, but it has been recognized for being a sustainable site and for its smart growth planning. It does have the Schob Scholar Program, which has the Senior Schob Scholar in LAUP and RPTS, and then it also has the Schob Scholar Mini Grant Program. It is funded from the Schob Endowment by Dr. Schob. And then, like Hannah said, there isn't a heat island effect because there's so many trees. There's not really any paving that bounces the heat back up from the sun. So because of that open space and all the grass, it really prevents that from happening. And the alternative modes of transportation within the preserve, as we all kind of saw, there's the paved areas in front of the park and the sidewalk on Ashburn, but in the back there's the crushed stone as you kind of go around the butterfly path. So those are the two alternate modes of transportation. And then as far as energy conservation, it's a great site for this because it has several different programs in place that keep it a low-cost site. So as you first walk in, there's kind of that tall grass, which is the rain garden. It's used for irrigation. The site also uses solar sprinkles that reduce, that help conserve water and energy. And then it also uses drip irrigation and combine and keep the site low cost.
Stormwater management practices. The park uses stormwater management practices that allow for a paved sidewalk with permeable material for water drainage. In addition, the site contains water runoff drains that allow stormwater to flow down to the small creek. The rainwater garden also helps allow rainwater to be used at slower rates of plants can absorb the water. Benefits of the rain garden consist upon better filtration and reducing pollutants, preventing flooding, and improvement of water quality. The site does not offer a green roof and does not contain an area for detention or retention facilities. The park obviously doesn't have any toilets, showers, or water fountains. In addition, there's no current graywater program in place right now. Many drought-resistant plants were planted to improve the water management practices, and the solar sprinkler system was installed and helped save water by regulating water time and the amount of water used. And then education. There are several programs that are associated with the Schob Nature Preserve Park. The two programs are Senior Schob Scholars Program and the Schob, Scholars Mini Grant Program. And then, yeah.
So the next topic we're going to be covering is sensory value. We broke this one down to 5 points, so I'm going to start with the first 3. The first one I'm covering right now is the visual impact. And so since Schob Nature Park was designed by architects, they kind of wanted it to represent A&M and what we can do. And the project lead was by Dr. Ming Hong Lee and Dr. Scott Schreifer. The project contains 2 water features, the creek, which we all saw, and it did have water when I was present there, and then the boardwalk. That's when, like, when it rains and stuff, which none of us witnessed, but the path was there as if there should be water going at some point. This project has not had much maintenance during winter. You can see in the photos, the most recent one we took, it's a little underground, and then that first day we went, it was a lot of dead shrubbery. And then the sidewalk was added to the park, but then it gets overgrown by brush around. The next next sense I'm going to cover is the smell. There aren't any adjacent vendors or food or anything around that's really promoting that smell that you get in like A&M's campus itself. The project was open with various grasses, including a rain garden at the time of the visits, but those flowers hadn't really been in bloom and they really haven't had their chance to put out their scent. No trash cans were present, so there also wasn't a trash lingering smell, and there was no negative odorous facilities like a freeway or trains or anything like that, since it's kind of secluded in the neighborhood. Touch, this one was more represented. You can really touch anything the park you wanted. It is under the ADA compliance, so there is wheelchair accessible areas, so even anyone that can, they can go sit and sit on the park benches or anything around that area. Trails are surrounded and they are paved with some sort. I don't know how difficult it would be for everyone, but I felt it was pretty flat land that you can get through. No vibrations, so there's no underground transport or anything like that that would affect that. And then there are various seating areas that are not completely shaded, but there's no water fountains.
And my name is Jin Long, and I go by Vance. I'm going to talk about the sound of the project. Definitely, this is a pretty quiet park for everybody's use, and there's no sound venues at the time of visitation, and no sound system like speakers for the project. And we all know like it's pretty quiet on the first day we went, and y'all can hear like the sound, like the video we made. And there are like an all open area and tables and benches for studying and relaxation on site, and they like make noise because like you in a park, the only way you can park is a parallel park to on the street, and traffic that like cause some noise, and all noise generation activities are in the distance, but still can be heard from the side location. And the taste, and my students brought big food for the class to enjoy, which is pretty good. And no cooking activities were going on when we visited, and there's like no water fountains, and there's like on the side is non-feedable plants were not in the area.
Okay, so kind of close out, our recommendations are that trash cans are added because there aren't any on the site. When we went, and 8 there. We're in new trash cans to put our trash in. Lighting is also a big thing that we think would help with the safety and security portion of this. There isn't a lot of lighting there. It's just along that front street. And then more frequent maintenance, we definitely think that that should be bumped up a bit. It wasn't looking too hot the first time we went, mainly because it was very cold. And then the second time that we went to take pictures as a group, it was very overgrown in some areas where probably you couldn't see your foot if you stepped into part of the grass. And then a possible water feature, such as a water fountain, just to kind of drown out the noise from the street, but still keep it kind of nature-like. And then bike racks, we think would be a really good implementation as well, just because it's not too far of a bike from campus, so you could easily get there or anywhere else in the surrounding neighborhood. People do walk their dogs. When we went, there was a woman who was walking her 2 dogs out there, so it was perfect for a video, and then also a good representation that there could be some doggy bag stations just to make sure that none of that is getting into the stormwater, making sure the water is great, and then just a possible grill near the pergolas would be a good idea as well, just to bring more people to the site, makes it more user-friendly for the residents. Do we have any questions?
My name's Buster. Y'all did mention a heat island. I never really thought about that. But it does make sense. I was out there the other day and it was surprisingly hot outside for some reason. But I was able to still stay pretty cool when I'd either step under like a tree or even under the pergola. But what came to mind was kind of the creek running through it, if you'd even call it a creek. Do y'all think that creek is what helps reduce the heat island, or is it just the vegetation? What do you think kind of reduces that?
I don't think that there's enough water to reduce that, but I definitely think that it is the plants. I mean, there is a lot of vegetation in the open, there's a lot of trees. I think that really helps with the cooling of the area. Any other questions?
Mine's for the sensory people. My name's Ryan. So I think a lot of us kind of picked up that there wasn't many smells out there, good or bad. Do you all think that in order to enhance the sensory experience, there should be more things added to smell? You know, you mentioned that there were some flowers and stuff. Do you think that should be expanded upon?
I mean, we haven't seen it grow over during the summer, so it might be entirely different perspective when we get there. But I mean, everyone likes a good barbecue smell, and so the reference for putting grills there, I mean, that could draw some people in.
Any other questions?
No more questions? Okay, let's put your hands together.